like duck feet. Those belong to a bird called the Alaya. And then above that, the faces of the moon. All of them, again, the different body forms that you know about. Designs. We have all of these designs here. All of them made to kind of replicate kappa patterns and kappa designs that would go on your material. Now you'll notice that these here, lots of triangles, lots of peaks and valleys. Why? Because we're looking at the mountainside. On the opposite side, you've got curvy lines. You have the spiny sea urchin. You have some ocean creatures there as well. All of that representing water or the ocean. Now, if you come here during the day, it's a little easier to see, but there's something special about these windows as well. They're different colors. So on the mountainside, you've got the ambers, and the yellows and browns, all of them representing the warmth of the mountainside. And then on this side, you've got the blues and grays representing the coolness of the water. And then there's one more thing. There are prisms in these windows, and so at any given moment, it will create a rainbow here in the Maka Ala. I haven't seen it yet, so if you see them, please capture it.
Yeah.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
All of these little details that you really wouldn't know unless you came to visit me. And this wall is comprised. Exactly. This wall is comprised of 138 photographs, all of which were done by students. Kindergarten through high school level. And their only guideline was that they focused on just one color. Awesome, right?
That's beautiful.
So, those are also designed by Aulani Tanahi. You have these gourds that are hanging here, what we call a huezai, or a container for water. So essentially, water jugs. Of course, greeted by Mickey as well. We also have these fun little things for them to explore, and if you'd like to, now I waited until about 11 o'clock at night so that no one else is around when I did this, but you can take a peek. And we'll get closer to the shore. You'll hear birds, you'll hear the ocean. Something to see, definitely. Yeah. So come and check it out. But there's also wonderful little things here, kind of an educational area. Hi, Princess. How are you? At this beach house?
Yes.
That's right, at the party. We were making rainbows together. Where's your brother? There he is. All right, so these are what we would use to make different dye for our kappa. So these are actual kappa pieces. And then you have the kukui, the lei that you might have received when you arrived. That's the actual nut on the inside. And then they would burn them, and then you can use them to make that dye that you see is written, the words written there. Then you have the noni, or the, I don't know what it's called in English, sorry. It's called noni, I don't know. And then you have, of course, the hibiscus. And these are, oh boy, I forgot what they're, uki berries. They're types of berries that make blue or purple. Yeah. Sellers, construction workers, they don't like to see anything not finished. So they'll either put it back to how it originally started, or they'll finish it for you if you're nice and if you give them food. We'll see. So these are our menehune. We have a couple of them here. Watch out for this one. He follows you everywhere. His eyes. And then on this side, you've got the beaters that you use to make the kappa, the different tools that you would use as well. You've got the stone ads there, what we call a koi, all kinds of things. But on the bottom here, you see the glass floaters, or buoy, if you will. And then you have this interesting looking tool here. It's got the shell and the rock and the little hook. You guys take a guess at what that is?
a fish hook, isn't it?
It is kind of a fish hook. It's what we call a lu he'e. A he'e is an octopus. It's an octopus lure. So what they would do is the fishermen would take the lu he'e, they would use that stone as a weight. It would go towards the bottom of the ocean, and the cowrie shell is what the he'e like to eat. So the octopus would then go on top of that cowrie shell. As soon as they felt the weight of the he'e, they would pull it up. And there you go, you got dinner. And the reason why I like coming here to see the lu he'e is my grandfather was a deep sea skin diver. And so we had a few of them in our house at one point, and I just remember him always saying, don't touch it, don't touch it. And so I never knew what it was until I worked at the Bishop Museum. And then I was like, hey, I have a lot of those at my house. What are those? And they were able to tell me that that's exactly what they were. His name is Carl Pao, P-A-O. And so he's known for using many geometric shapes and very interesting looking patterns in all of his artwork. And he's also done the facade murals here at Aulani as well. In those murals, you can actually find words to a chant if you look hard enough. It took me 2 years to be able to see that. He had to point it out for me. Anywho, this year, this piece honors our god Ku. Now, there are a total of 40 squares. 4, he says, is actually his favorite number. But 4 is also the number of major gods that we have in the Hawaiian culture. And then, of course, like I said, they have many different branches of them. So it breaks down into the 40. Now, this is a piece done by Mark Chai. He's a pretty well-known, he's an artist, but he's also a pretty well-known interior designer. And he uses all recycled items in all of his work. So this here is a holua. A holua is a sled. And we don't have too much snow here in Hawaii. We do have some on Hawaii Island, and maybe on Maui, but not so much here. But our ali'i, our chiefs, would use this to challenge one another during the makahiki season. Now, makahiki, we only have 2 seasons here in Hawaii. We have the wet and rainy season, and then we have the dry and hot season. The makahiki season is the wet and rainy season, is the time of peace. The dry and hot season is the time of war. So, during the time of war, of course, fighting is allowed. During the time of peace, no fighting is allowed. But you're allowed to challenge one another, as long as you're not fighting. Complicated, but makes sense, you know? Time to rest. This is one of my favorite pieces, I think. And the reason for that is if you look at each of the men, they have their own facial expressions, their own hairdo even. My favorite is the faux hawk. But this here represents what we would do during the makahiki season. It's called a hukilau ceremony. You might be familiar with the song.
Hukilau.
Exactly. Oh, we're going to a hukilau. Exactly. And a hukilau is a ceremony where they go out as a community. They cast out a giant net. On the net are tied lau or leaves. Huki means to pull. And so those leaves would scare the fish into the center of the net, and then they would huki and pull the net together as a community, gathering as many fish as possible. And all of that would be done, of course, before the makahiki season, so that you had fish to spread out amongst everyone in the community. Night sky. Before we could say it was winter season. Now, if you notice, it's kind of hard to tell when our seasons change here in Hawaii. Yeah. So it was also kind of hard to tell whether it was winter or summer, you know? So when makali'i appeared in the night sky, then we knew it was now makahiki season. Now, being that our restaurant is called Makahiki, it only makes sense that we have makali'i present in our sky at all times. So,
oh my gosh.
You'll notice that Pleiades is there. Also known as the Seven Sisters. In Japan, known as Subaru. So makali'i is always present, which is why we can have the makahiki. But this room, all of these wood carvings are done by Butch Hanemano and his students, and they show you things that would have been done during the makahiki season. The offering of gifts, surfing, spear throwing, balancing, all the way through to the hula, and then the cleansing ceremony. So, nice little here, learn a lot here. Our bartenders, as well as our waitresses and waiter, their one requirement is that they're fluent in Hawaiian language. So this is the only place actually on the island where you have to be fluent in the Hawaiian language in order to work in this area. So one thing that you have to do in order to be a cast member here. So you'll notice that everything's labeled. The chair, the table, even the walkway. All of them labeled in Hawaiian. Sometimes if you're standing at the bar, you might feel a little bit magical. Things light up in certain areas. We teach you a couple of words. It's got the, we also have the pronunciation guide back here. And then up top, we have all of these wood carvings. And then we've got the image as well as the Hawaiian word. Now this is a very special room only because at one point in our history, the Hawaiian language is taken away. We're no longer allowed to speak Hawaiian, particularly in schools. So some families still speak Hawaiian at home, but many of them, because of the fear that the child would go to school speaking Hawaiian, didn't speak to their children in Hawaiian. My grandmother, for example, her family all spoke Hawaiian, but because she was born in that time where it was shameful to speak Hawaiian. Her mother didn't speak Hawaiian. So sometimes my grandmother even has a hard time pronouncing Hawaiian.